It is a great honor and a privilege to introduce Menachem Philipson Armon. We're here in your lovely home in Beit Juliana in Israel. And Menachem, you are a child survivor from Holland.
Yes, it's so. I was born in October 1942, the fifth child in my family. I have my four brothers and sisters. They were born in 35, 36, 38, 40 and 42 I was born. And that was already in the war. And my sister 2 years before me, Sarah, she was born also in September 1940, which also was in the war. My parents, my father was he was working at the orphanage, the Jewish orphanage in Leiden, in the Netherlands, and my mother was the house at home. She didn't work. She had to grow up the children. We had a very good life before the war. They had their own house. This house exists until today. I know the owners, but it's a whole story.
And in which city were you?
In Leiden, in the Netherlands. And it was already a war, so about 5 months later, the German made plans to take all the Jews from Leiden to the concentrating camps. So the underground decided they have to take as much people as they can to hiding places. Especially there in Leiden, they were looking after for the children. So they also wanted to take the children from the orphanage, but there was no place enough to find for 46 children. So the education manager in the orphanage, he decided, like Janusz Kurczak, that he will stay with the children. If they cannot take all the children, he also will not go for hiding. And they all were taken on 17 March. All the Jews of Leiden were taken, except those who could go to hiding before. And that was in general, and all the children of the orphanage, except of 2, were killed in the Holocaust. And now to our story. My mother told she never wanted to speak about the time of the Holocaust. She never told us things, but a few things she was able to tell us. So she told us that one night it was dark because it was all no lights on the streets in the war. It came two young people came to our house, and they told my mother they came to take 2 children to hiding. So she told them, "Oh, you take all my 5, or I don't give any of them." So they went away, and they came back after a few hours maybe, and they took all our 5. We were separated to different places, and I was taken by a young student. She couldn't be a student because if she could go to the university only if she signs to collaborate with the Nazis. many young people did not want to collaborate with the Nazis, except there was a party in the Netherlands, the NSB. It was the Nazi party in Holland. It was also. So she came. Her name was Hendrika Welemannswinkel, and she took me. I was 5 months old, in a basket with some clothes, and she took me in the train. She didn't even know if it's a boy or a girl. She told me that. I met her 50 years later, and she took me in the train, and she had to change my diapers, and she found some place that nobody will see, because if somebody sees a baby Jewish, something, she is lost, and me too.
It was so dangerous. It
was very dangerous. I don't know how long it took to arrive. We came to a small city, Hogeveen, in the north of Holland, and there she took me to a small village 6 kilometers from Hogeveen. It was called Hollandse Veld. There were 3 villages, which most of the men were in the how you call it?
Underground.
In the underground. And she took me to Hollandse Veld, as I told, and there was a man who, everybody who came to got a hiding place, came to his place. His name was Arnold Douwes, and every Jew who came there, he wrote his name, the new name he gets there, and where he is hiding. And those notes he put in glass, conserving glasses, and he put it in the ground in his garden. That's why I know my name, because I couldn't know who I am. And I was sent to a family, 2 elder people in their 40s. He was a teacher at school, and their house was nearby the school. I have a picture of the place. And I was there not in the hiding, because I had a very European side. I had some hair, but blonde hair and blue eyes. So they gave me a name of one of their nephews. I got a name, Enno Wichmann. So I was one of that family, and I grew outside. I even met, after years later, a lady who used to get me in the stroller, walking on the streets. She went to that same school. She was in the 6th grade, and she was a very grown one, and she got permission to take me to walk on the street. And in that same house, they hid 2 ladies in the attic, Jewish ladies. I never met them, because I came to Holland only 50 years later, so they weren't alive anymore. At the time, the German who were in that village took the school and made it the main office of the Gestapo in the village. So we stayed nearby the Gestapo. Now this man, Mr. Wichmann, he had connections. He was also in the Netherlands. You said Verzet, in the group of people who go against the
underground.
The underground. He was in the underground. It was a group named the name of Johannes Post Group. I will tell you that in Yad Vashem there's a very big stone with 202 names, all people in that underground group, Johannes Post Group, which got the Yad Vashem
Chasidei Umot Haolam, righteous amongst the nations.
Yes. In altogether in 1986, and all the names, including the people who hired me, and the same girl which took me in the train, and her sister. Her sister was also, she was living in Amsterdam, and one of my brothers, Jacob, he was hidden by her in her house also. So, and once they met, they told each other what they did, and that the older one told to the younger one, you know, this boy, which is we have here, he is the brother of the baby you took to the hiding place in Holland. It was all good until in 1944 there was one of the soldiers of the Gestapo. He ran away from the army, so-called, and he found a place to hide. So the younger, this soldier found a hiding place by some of the peasants there, which that family had 4 sons, all in the underground, and many people used to come to that place. So it took about a year. He was there for maybe a year, and he wrote all the names. He wasn't involved, but you know, you are in a house and you see and you hear. So at one morning he vanished. So they understood what happened, and they went to tell people to run away because he's going to give us our names to the Gestapo now, and which really did happen. So I was at the same day I was taken away from the village, and they took me away to a small village in the east of Holland in the name of Ter Apel, and they took me to the sister of my of the man who rescued me, of Mr. Wichmann, and there I was hidden in a very small room in a barn for 6 months. I did not see anybody except of that old lady who was there. She was maybe in her 50s at the time, and she had a farm there, a small farm, which she held by herself because she was not married. She had no children, nobody to help her. But she survived, and I survived too. But I had no medication help. I did not see anybody, as I told you, and I don't remember anything. I was about 12 years old at that time, but I don't remember anything. And I even didn't know about this what happened there until 1972, when I went the first time to the Netherlands for a visit, and I visited my my foster parents, I would say, and at that time I learned two things: that the place where they live now, which was Ter Apel, was their original place where they came from, but he got a job as a teacher in another village. So in the war we were in Holland, and until that time I didn't know that I was hidden in Holland. Nothing. That's also because of my mother never told us anything about the war.
Do you have recollections being hidden? Do you remember it?
Nothing. I have no recollections until I was 5. Until all the time we lived in the Netherlands, even after the war, I don't remember anything. It's all away. All I had to. I will tell it later. I had to make my roots, and then I came of everything. And I also wonder how I came to that. So I stayed there until the end of the war, and then I was sent back. I don't know how. They brought me back to the Wichmann family. Now this family, he was kept at that time by the Gestapo when the soldier gave the names of the underground, and he was sent to Germany for labor work, and he came very sick back, but they came back, and I came to them back, and they wanted to make me to be their child.
To adopt?
To adopt me, yes. I don't know how far it was. Maybe they all they succeeded in that. I don't know. But when the war was finished, this Mr. Arnold Douwes, who put the names in the glasses in the ground, put all out, and then they published that these people who we have here in the village, those are their names, and there was an organization also to find people and to bring them back to the families. So my mother got, I am sure she got to know about that I exist and I'm there. She got my name, but there was no transport after the war. No buses, no trains, nothing, because the Germans took with them everything to Germany. And you know, roads, after tanks are going on the roads, are not so very good also. But in 1995, I was in the Netherlands and I met the housekeeper which used to work as a Wichmann family after the war. And she told me the story which I am going to tell you now, that about 2 or 3 months after the war was finished, one morning came a woman to our house, and she told us she is your mother, and she wants to take you back, but the Wichmans refused, and they had argues and crying and I don't know whatsoever. And the next day my mother left without thanking me. And a few months later, she didn't know exactly how long it took until this, and one day came a man on a bicycle. He told us that he is your uncle, and he took you on his bicycle and ran away. So I was kidnapped once again. And years later, it was I know now that it was my uncle, a brother of my father. My father did not survive the war. And he took me about 40 kilometers from that place to where I lived at that time. But years later, when he already lived in Israel, he came to Israel after he got a pension, and every time when I came to his house, we did not speak so very much, but he always told me, "You know that I took you on my bicycle?" Okay, somebody took me for a ride on the bicycle. I did not even understand, and it took until this story from that lady that at once I understood. Oh, so he was that one who took me on the bicycle from the Wichmans to my mother. I don't know how I arrived to my mother, because it was all another place, about 100 kilometers from there to our house. So about a half year after the war was finished, I came back to my mother.
And do you remember meeting your mother again, the reunion?
No, not at all.
But you were very young.
I was very young, but I don't remember. It was so traumatic, because maybe I did not understand that it is my mother. If you think about it, I was used to that. Those are my parents who I was there from when I was 5 months old. I was by some family. They were my parents. I didn't understand anything else. I also had another name. Why I have to take another name now? Yes. And
Menachem, can I ask, how did your mother survive the war?
No, I tell you for my mother. The day after they took us, the children, the underground came to take also my parents to hiding place. They found a place in a village about 10 kilometers from Leiden. I don't know exactly which one. And there they were hidden in a house. And my grandparents from my mother's side, they were also in Leiden. They were old, and they were hidden in Leiden. So three months after they went to hiding place, my mother wanted to know what is about her parents. How do they manage? Because they were sick and they were old. And so one day that's what the only thing my mother told us. So, when we ever would ask her things about the wars, she never answered. But she told us, one day your father went out of the hiding place and never came back. That's what she knows. She never knew another thing about it, or what happened and how. But I studied my history, and I found written things, I found everything. Now, my father went out of the hiding place. He went by foot, of course, to Leiden, and he passed through our street where we lived, in the Van der Waalstraat 34, and there was, in that same street lived a police officer who was also collaborating with the Nazis. And when he saw my father, which was on a list of people they have to find because they didn't come to the razzia they took them all away. So he shot him on street. And in a book of the underground in Leiden, it says that he killed him. But it wasn't true, because I got a document from the Leiden police, which says that on that day, it was 20 June 1943, at 11:15 p.m., there came this police officer with a soldier to a house in Alderijn Street 26, and they took to custody all the people who were in that house, my father, my grandparents, one more Jew which was hidden in that house, and the house owners took them to the police station. That's what we have from the police. And later on, now we know, because every time I got some more stories and things in books written, my father was taken to some prison where they חקרו אותו. He was investigated, and maybe he gave up some places or names wherever what he knew where my sister was hidden. I don't know exactly, and of course where my mother was. And afterwards they took him to the concentrating camp in the north of Holland, Westerbork it was called, and we have all the documents about it. On 20 July there was a train with more of 1,000 Jewish people, including my father and my grandparents and many other people, to Sobibor, and they all were killed in Sobibor in 23 of July. 3 days later, the train came there, and nobody of that train survived the war. They were all in the gas chambers. And the Dutch people and also the German were very ordered, as I did, everything was written. So we all had our personal tickets, cards, in Westerbork. Also, the people who survived the war had cards. So in any way, on the card of my father is written that he died in Sobibor with the date of 23 July 43. So we have the exactly date. And for the big wonder, look, after we made Aliyah, my 3 brothers were in a Mossad Aliyah. It was a place where they brought to youth which survived the war to get education and to build up a new life, especially children without parents or difficulties. So there was the manager decided that all the children who don't know when their parents or father or anybody died will have the Remembrance Day of the family on Kaf Tammuz, the day when Herzl died, Kaf Tammuz. And years later I found out, when I got the date, that 23 July 43 was on Kaf Tammuz. Not to believe.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's amazing, yes. So my mother survived, but how? I go back to the hiding place. But now, after my father was sent away, the police, the Gestapo, they one day, that story I heard, you can't believe. I tell you, on the same place where my mother was hidden, in the same house, there was another young lady, and years later, after the war, they also say she survived also, and she became a stewardess in the KLM, and she was on the line from from the United States to Amsterdam, and she had a sister in Israel, which was a very good friend of my mother's. And years later she came for a visit, and she came to visit us. And we asked her, I don't exactly remember who we were there at the time. I know that my sister was 2 years older than we was there also, but we asked her, so she told us exactly what happened at that house where my mother was hidden. So, she told us that a few weeks after your father vanished, one day at once there came a truck with German soldiers, and they broke into the house, and your mother was working in the kitchen, and she ran away through the back door, and she ran away. And this young girl, she was about in her 20s maybe. She was upstairs, and she had a very non-Jewish side. She had blonde hair and blue eyes and so, etc. And she was dressed, and she ran from the stairs downstairs, and she told the soldiers, "There are Jewish upstairs." So all the soldiers ran up, and she ran away. So this wonders. And afterwards, my mother went to two other places, from place to hide. And one place she was by a doctor and his wife. His wife was not so very nice, but the doctor was a doctor. And they had also connections with people who were in the underground. And I believe that in the underground they knew about families of people, connections, so they connected, and once they got a letter from their relatives in Friesland with a picture of that family, and in that picture was my older sister, also in that picture. So my mother got to learn that at least one of her daughters is alive. Now my second sister, Sarah, she was also in a village in the neighborhood of Leiden. So we believe that maybe my father gave the address or something, I don't know how. But what we know from the books and also from people from that family, that one day there came this police officer and a soldier came to that village, and they were looking for a family, and people did not collaborate with them. They sent them to the other side of the village, and they ran to tell the people that the Germans are after you. And my sister was in the house, and they put my sister under the table, that the cloth on the table was till the ground, so nobody could see that she's under the table. And the man there, which was also in the underground, had a rifle at home, and he got to a room after the door with his rifle, and the lady of the house, she was in the kitchen, and there was a young girl which was helping there at home. So after a few minutes, I don't know how long it took, those two came to that house, knocked on the door and went inside. They were looking for the husband, for the house lord, and the woman told them he is not at home, so when he will come back, I don't know. So we wait. So they stood near the door, and then very carefully this man took his rifle, and through the door, a little bit open, he shot them. And one of them was killed, I don't know, of the soldiers and the officers. One was killed, and one was wounded. And then the whole family ran away from house. And years, my sister had one thing she remembered, that on a day she was running through the fields. My sister, as I told, she had only one thing she remembered from childhood, that she's running through the fields with somebody, she didn't know who that was, and she is running through the fields, and they ran until they got to some house. That's what she was, at that time she was about 3 years old.
And she remembers?
She remembers. Maybe she was 3.5. She was almost 3, I think. She almost 43, yes. And years later, I found these people. I say I because I was involved in that. First I tell that. So after the war, my mother came back. That's another story which I will tell you. And she had to collect her other children. So my oldest sister was in Friesland, and she came back home by boat because there was no transportation, only through the canals. So this was a very important thing in the Netherlands, that before the trains and before the roads and cars, they had a very developed system of channels through all the Netherlands. So she came by boat, and they put her down on some address which was nearby the place of how you call it, sorry, the orphanage where my father used to work. And we know now that in the opposite of the orphanage lived a family who was good friends with my father, which worked in the orphanage. He was the head of office, and he was the head of the underground in the Leiden, and he warned them, and he found the places, the hiding places, and he and his wife were the first to get the Yad Vashem among the nations title in Jerusalem. By us it was one of the first, because they did very, very important things for us. And so my sister, she was then about 10 years old, and she came to that family, and she knocked at the door. It was 6 in the morning. I heard it from that lady, from Mrs. Stoffels, and she didn't say who's knocking so early in the morning, you know. And then my sister told her she doesn't know how. She recognized my sister, and she told her, just wait, and I dress and I take you to your home, because my sister didn't remember how to go home. So she was one of the first to come home. My other sister, Sarah, she was this one who ran away in the fields. She got to a place in the south of Holland called Menachem, southeast, and there she was adopted by a family who put her into Christianity, and that family had only one daughter. She was at that time 16 years old, and they loved my sister. They were very good to her, And it took my mother, I don't know, a few months to find her. When she came there, it was morning. She came to the bed of my sister, and my sister opened her eyes and said, "Mommy." Sorry.
It's so emotional. It's so... Wow. After all those years, they were
2.5
separated
years.
2.5 years.
2.5 years. And she was at times, she was about 5.5, 6 years old. But they accepted to give her back. And they gave her I don't know how to call it, it's a band.
A bracelet?
A bracelet of silver mounts, which she's keeping it until today. She has it. And my brother Jacob, I don't know exactly how much time it took until he came home, but he was very weak when he came back. He was about 7 years old, maybe 8, and I don't know how and exactly, but they sent him to a nursing house in Switzerland to recover from the...
This is after the war?
Yes, after the war. My older brother, Elias, he promised my father never to give his real name. So at the end of the war, he was hidden in 16 places. So he's telling us, he don't remember the names, but he only knows every time he had to go from place to place, it wasn't safe. All the trouble he had, never spoke about it too much. But after the war, the Jewish community had some foundation who they put all those children together, and they started to look after families. And many children did not have any families anymore. They survived, but the families not. So my brother, he was about maybe the last one who stayed there, one of the last ones. And then they brought some psychiatrist or something who came to speak to him, and then after all he told his name, and he was old enough that he could understand that if he wants to find his family, he must tell his name, because after nobody will take him. So, and so after more of a year, he also got home. And then my mother had to start again. And now I'll tell you about what happened to my mother. She never told us about it, but when she went home, it was an empty house because Germans, all the Jews who had a house, they took those houses, and so my mother came back home to an empty house, and then she learned that in the war the Germans sold the house to a Dutch doctor, which was a member of the Nazi party in Leiden, and he lived there, but because he was a little bit criminal, because he collaborated with the Germans, he ran away at the end of the war. So when my mother came back, he wasn't there anymore in that house. And also my mother never told about it anything. And then the big wonder was that the next day after my parents went to a hiding place, our neighbors and friends of our parents, which were living in the other side of the house, came through the back door. They had the keys, and they took out of the house everything they could: the books, furniture, services, plates, and everything. There were also new things in boxes, which were for my aunt. She got married in 1944. Is the war, and afterwards she also was sent to the chambers. She did not survive the war, but at my parents' house, she had things she got for a marriage from the parents. A big, how you say, plates of service, a big service of, and knives and forks and everything from silver, very nice things. And so they brought everything home, including the books, my father's books, and 3 photo albums, and that's how we got our albums, because they took everything home in the attic, and they had also 5 children. We were the same ages. After the war they got 1 more child. I know him, and I heard that story from them when I met them. It was about the year 2000. There was a historicus, there was one historicus who made investments about the Jewish orphanage in Leiden, and they made an exhibition, and in that exhibition there were many photos and the list of the Germans who were looking after us, and all the names of the people who did not come to the razzia were on a list. And then when they found my father, they made a stripe on his name, so he is found. So, and many others, it was not the only one. But it was so interesting to see all that. And there on the exhibition came the children of the neighbors. That was the first time we met them. We were there, I was there with two of my brothers. We were 3, we were there. That was the first time to meet them, and then they started to tell us. But a year later we came, all our 5 brothers and sisters, all our 5 came to the Netherlands for a Yad Vashem title to the people, some of the people who rescued my sister Sarah. It was very excited. So I was very busy with all that things, and how it started, I tell you, in any way, at home my mother got everything back, and she started, she was connected to the people of the Sochnut HaYehudit and all that. She wanted to make Aliyah. We believe, we don't know exactly, we believe that it was their plan in any way to go to Palestine at that time. And she made the effort. She didn't want to stay in the Netherlands anymore. She had no she had no work. She couldn't. She had no profession. She had to survive and to survive for her children. And she got connected to the family Dasberg, who was organizing children who survived without family to go to Aliyah. He also was connected to the Sochnut, and he was the founder of the Kfar Batya in Ra'anana. It was also an orphanage, something like this. But the plan was she will be one of the workers in that place. But the Sochnut made for us other plans. One day we got certificates for tourists to go to visit Palestine. So we didn't know, maybe mother didn't know, it was not real. They were all
Forged.
And we got our passports. It was official, we go for a tour. But not to be suspicious too much, they made from our 5 children, 2 of us got another mother. And surprised that, so we came on the same boat with another lady as our mother of my sister Sarah and me. And this woman came also to live in Petach Tikva, and we also lived in Petach Tikva. And
what year did you go?
In 1947. So in the summer of 47, my mother told us, look, we have all the bags ready, we go for a tour. And we went to Amsterdam, and from Amsterdam the train to Paris. And in Paris I was lost in the metro. I was so astonished from the sight of seeing from above the people going there to all the directions. So I stayed upstairs, and my family went to the train. And in the train my mother saw, where is Menachem? But I stayed there, and I was so excited, so I stayed on the same place. I don't know how much time it took, but they all went back to the station, and then they found me, of course. And
can I just ask, before you left,
yeah,
do you still have memories of Holland before you left?
Nothing.
Going to school after the war? Or?
No, I did not go to school after the war. My 5th birthday was in Israel, in Palestine at the time.
And do you remember being reunited with your brothers and your sister?
No, I only hear from them that we used to play in our backyard. We had a small garden. There was some square with sand in the middle I could play there, but I have no remembrance from that.
And what happened to your mother's family and your father's family?
Now, my father's family survived one brother and his wife, Uncle Michel and Aunt Eva. They are the parents of Esther, my wife. And another sister, Sarah, who she was the one who found my wife as a child, because my wife was hidden in Amersfoort, the same city where they hid my wife. The aunt came from there, and she came back after the war to Amersfoort, and they published pictures of survivors who they didn't know who they are, or from which family. They put the pictures on the wall of the city hall. And our aunt, she went there and she looked at the pictures. We don't know if she already, I believe she already had contacted our uncle, her brother. At once she saw the picture of a girl. We have that picture somewhere, I don't know. And at once she said, "This must be the daughter of my brother." And so they make the connection. And my wife, she did not have any identity thing, nothing, because she was taken from place to place to place to place, about four places, and nobody knew her real name. She didn't know she was Esther Philipson, but she had one thing. She had a toy. It was making noise. It was some ring with a bell.
A rattle. Rattle.
Yes, a rattle. But it was from silver, and this was the only thing she took with her from home, whatever home there was. Her father used to work in Judenrat in Amsterdam. So they lived with other people in the house, I don't know exactly. So they found their daughter, but there was a big problem that my wife's mother, she denied her daughter. She did not recognize her back as her daughter anymore. Her father always told her, "Yes, it is our daughter, it is Esther," but she told not. She did not want to cooperate. So my wife, she waited until she was 21, and then she ran away from house. She made Aliyah by herself. She didn't want to stay at home. She never was allowed to go into the kitchen to learn how to cook something. She was only good for make the dishes after the dinners. But her mother never bought her clothes, only her father. Many bad things, but they didn't want to make Aliyah. They were not Zionists. In the original, there were 5 brothers and sisters, 4 brothers and 1 sister, and our grandfather from my father's side died in 1926, so they had no father. But the mother was a Jewish teacher, and she was working. And the children were from 1900 and 1903, my father, until my wife's father, he was from 1910. So he was 16 when his father died. And my grandmother, she lived in Rotterdam until the bombardment in the war in 1940. And then she came to live in Leiden in our house. And she lived there until 1943. In 1942, months before I was born, she was sent, took her to Amsterdam, to the house where my uncle was living there. She was very sick. She had cancer. I don't know exactly what. So she needed many times to go to the hospital. And she died in the ghetto in 1943 in Pesach. It was 43. So she was buried in Amsterdam. And after the war, my father-in-law took her to Rotterdam, to the burial place beside her husband. And her husband took his life, so he was buried out of the line. Later on, it came that he did not do he was accused that he took some money from the Kehillah, I don't know, but it wasn't true. Came out later on that somebody other did it. He was a chazan in the shul, and he couldn't stand that the community will think that he did such a bad thing. So afterwards, my uncle took his mother from Amsterdam to Rotterdam to the burial place, and so he filled up the line. There was one place between, and she's buried there. I've been there many times. The only line which is longer than the other one.
Sure.
Very interesting, everything. So, but from my mother's side, she had two sisters and parents. She lost all her family. She was the only one survives from the whole family, uncles and for her parents, of course, and two sisters and their families. They all were killed in the war, in the Shoah.
They were mostly taken to Westerbork.
Everybody was taken first to Westerbork, and from there sent to the concentration
either Auschwitz or Sobibor.
Yes.
Oh.
Also to Bergen-Belsen. I don't know exactly, but they were all killed. We have all dates, except of my uncle from Hoogeveen. He was a chazan, but he never. He was killed about. It's told there somewhere in Eastern Europe at the end of 1943 or 44. I don't remember exactly, because he was of those one of those marching.
The Death March.
I believe so.
Sure.
So nobody knows very exactly was killed or died, but somewhere in Eastern Europe.
And Menachem, your family on your mother and your father's side, were they many generations Dutch?
Yes. My father's family came to Holland about 750. from
where?
Germany, from Sterlitz. Sterlitz, there was a war in Sterlitz, and so the Jewish people ran away from Sterlitz, and they built a new place, Neusterlitz. And I wrote to the museum in Neusterlitz, and I asked if they have some documents from the Jewish life before, and I got an answer that we don't have any documents because all the documents of the Jewish community were burned up in 1983 at Kristallnacht. So there are no documents. So we don't know, only that they were in Sterlitz. And my uncle told me once that what he knows, that the family came from Lithuania. So I don't know if in the origin, maybe they were Portuguese. We don't know, because our last name Philipson was taken on the Napoleon time in 1812. I have a document that 12 people from the family, which was called Samuel, got the name Philipson. So I made many inquiries. I got to museums. Once I found things in the internet about the family, and I got a whole list of names, and all says that they were all baptized. Cannot be. So I studied once. I say it. Sorry, I can't come on the words in English. In any way, I did a course of to find in my heritage things, and
Genealogy.
And I was told one thing: never depend on information on the internet. If you want to know exactly, you must see the original document. And that was true, because we went to the archive in Nijmegen, which is the east of Holland. There, my family came there before 1800, that's for sure, because we have some documents. There was also that document from 1812 that the family changed the name. But this card with us families and baptized, I came there and I asked some of the management. I asked the question, she laughed and said, I will show you. What they did, when they put all the things on the internet, this card, there were there was on the headline, there was baptized, but there were two stripes, yes and no. She did not put the sign on the internet, only baptized. Oh, that was, so we made a long tour only to see that's not true.
But Menachem, you have the most amazing photo album.
Yes.
And it's because the neighbors went into the house, otherwise you wouldn't have had the pictures.
All our photos survived because our neighbors took everything from our house, and there were 3 albums. One of my grandmother, and one of my aunt Roosje, and one of my grandmother. When my grandmother was taken to live in Amsterdam, she left the photos. She was not healthy, but that's how our photos survived. There were many photos, duplicates in the 3 albums. That's how I learned that it should be of three owners, and I can show you the
Please,
photos.
it's amazing. This is so special and so.
And I took all the albums, because the albums were so old, I took them, and you can see here about, these are the grandparents Philipson. Yes, my grandmother Rika, and my grandfather Elias.
You can see they were very religious.
They were religious, and our family and the generations always took professions in the Judaism. They were shochatim, and we don't know about mohalim, but the cantors and shochatim and Jewish studies. So my grandmother also was a teacher in the Jewish language. It was important, and I'm sorry. And here I have photos. That's my grandfather Jacob Simons, and my grandmother Saartje Soosman. You know, in the Netherlands, the woman, they always keep her last name before marriage. And I have also, for example, my mother went to school in the village where she lived. It was Gees. There's also a very interesting story I will tell you in a few minutes. And also two sisters, and my aunt Selina, she went to a teacher's seminar, and she afterwards, when she finished, she was a teacher in the same school. And we got these two pictures we got from a youth friend from my mother, which when I made our inquiries, we met her in the village of Gees. It's a very old village, and there we got another story to tell, that our family started in that village in 1805, when our great-great-grandfather, he was in some army there. He was serving many years, and when he finished after 20 years, he got a great amount of money, and he bought a piece of land, and he bought a house which is standing until today, and it is called the Jewish house. I don't know if I have a picture of it. I try to find it, and no, I don't know if I have it here, because it's another part of the history. Sorry.
These pictures are so precious and so.
I know. I will show you one more picture. I have one more story to tell if we have time.
Sure.
You see. Maybe it's not in this album because I can't find it now, but I found a photo which is very important to show you. This is a wedding in the ghetto of Amsterdam in September 1942. It was 1 month before I was born. It's a Jewish. It's a Jewish wedding. You can see that the people are all wearing the Star of David, the yellow star, and these were my uncle Leo, who married to Janet Eisenman. Eisenman in Jerusalem.
I met her.
That's the grandchildren, yes. Yeah. Ephraim or David and younger people also, Gershon, and there are many.
It's amazing.
And we had that photo in the album, and not in this. I made this bigger to show it was so important, and. The Eisenman family did not have any pictures of their family, and once I met them, we were invited for a brit for one of the grandchildren, and I brought that picture with me. I gave them one, and they were so astonished from that. They never forgot it.
Can we look at a few more of the pictures?
Yes,
because
yes.
Menachem, these pictures are so unbelievable that if your neighbors wouldn't have taken the album, it would have been destroyed. It would have been...
of course, yeah. Of course.
So these pictures... And this is all of the family?
This is all of the family, yes. For example, this is a photo of my aunt, Selina, with her aunt. This aunt we didn't know because she died in 1938. But that picture was there. And my mother was in a Zionist club. Here we have a picture of my parents on their wedding day.
This is your parents?
Yes, 2 January 1935. And I know that date because I was married on the same date, 2 January 1966.
And where were they married?
They married in Hogeveen because our uncle was there, the rabbi and cantor, so he did the chuppah, and I tried to find.
And are there any pictures of you with your siblings?
Oh yes, not in this album. I have to take it from the wall to show you. Yeah. Sorry. Only to show you, these are all pictures from our my brother and sister. They were older than me. When they were young, they were playing in the backyard. The same backyard which I played there when I was about 4 years old. But those were another times. This is my family after the war, before we made Aliyah.
This is your family after the war?
Yes, my mother, my sister Sarah, my brother Elias, that's me, and that's my brother Jacob.
And your other sister?
Rika, there is Rika. Here. She is 90, and she is living in Meitar. nearby her son. And she is well. This is a family named Italy. And this is a long story, to make it short. They were engaged at my mother's house after the war. They got married and made Aliyah in 1948. And they lived in Kvuzat Yavne. And later in the years he got to be the head of the seminar of Giyur in Kvuzat Yavne.
For conversion.
There came a Dutch girl made the Giyur, and she had no family here, so they adopted her. So she was their daughter. And she got married, she lived in Ashdod. And they had 4 children. And their oldest son got married by, we didn't know anything about it. He got married to our granddaughter.
Wow, that's an amazing connection.
And this son-in-law of my daughter, he calls the Italy grandfather. It was his grandfather.
Wow.
So their first child is called El-Hanan, on the name of this El-Hanan.
And Menachem, the photo at the bottom.
This is our family, which I showed you before. This is our family on the Hanukkah of Tafshin Gimel.
So this is with your father?
This is with my father, yes.
And you the baby?
I the baby. I was 2 months old.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah. Now, I can tell you a little bit about our Aliyah.
Just before we start,
Yes. I go back to my mother and the Aliyah. So we go to Paris and then to Marseille, and there we got on a boat. And
Wat al wat hele stad?
we made a tour to the Mediterranean. And first we came to Alexandria in Egypt, and then we came to Haifa. Tourists, we got down. There were from the tourist office. They took us and they put us in an hotel because we were tourists in Haifa, which was in the opposite of the British police department, which was in Haifa, and today the Atzmaut Street. And we were there, we went to sleep, and in the morning, about 6, maybe more, a few minutes after 6, there was a big bomb. The Etzel threw a big bomb into the yard of the police, and there were many people killed and wounded, and all the windows of the hotel were broken from the bomb. So they had to take us away from the hotel, and then we went to the Beit Olim. In the Beit Olim in Bat Galim in Haifa, my 3 elder brothers were taken to Aliyat HaNoar, to Petach Tikva, to Musad Aliyah. So my mother asked the Sochnut, how can I live in the neighborhood of my children. She has to get somewhere to live also. So in that time there was built a new shikun in Petach Tikva, just in the opposite of this Musad Aliyah, this intern, and she got there a house with the one room, the kitchen and the bathroom, no electricity. There was no electricity at the beginning because we got in that house in February 48, and in May started the Milchemet Hatzmaut, and they could not make the electricity line until after the war. So after the war we got also electricity, and my mother, when she made Aliyah, she had an agreement with her friends. She had the friends, they had a milk factory in Leiden for kosher products, and they made Aliyah with the cows, with machinery, with everything to make cheese to Moshav Beit Yitzchak near Netanya. And it was a family Mayo cheese. It was very known here. And they promised my mother, and they brought with them the furniture from the house. And from this furniture in the house, and all the books of my father's books, and whatever they could take and what she wanted, they brought everything in a big wooden box. And one day, two brothers, Meyer, came to visit us with a container with all the stuff from our house. So we had furniture at home. And years later, when I was in the army, the furniture was old, and it was also different. And my mother, which did not want all those memories, when I was in the army, they made new furniture, and she took all the Dutch books which were used for my father, and they put it in the attic at home. And I didn't know about it. It didn't interest me in any way. I was only happy that we have new things at home. And 50 years later, my mother remarried, and we had a big family now. I had two more brothers and sisters, half brothers and sisters, and we bought a house nearby our mother's house. So one day my new father called my son if he wanted to help him to fix something in the water lines which are going into the roof. So he went up to the attic, and when he came back, he told me, you know, there are many books on the attic. Okay, bring them down, I have to see what it is. So at once, all the old books from my history came back. And it was unbelievable. And most of the books were damaged from all the years. But some survived, but I can't use them because there were books in Gothic German letters and things to do with history. Haggadah shel Pesach. Hi Esther.
Hi.
Esther, it is so special to have you together with your husband. It's wonderful. So Esther, it's hard to believe that you made Aliyah by yourself at At 21, you came by yourself.
Yes, only.
It will be a little bit difficult for her to speak in English, but she can try.
I came alone with 4 suitcases from Haarlem, Amsterdam, and Paris and Marseille. Is the boat moledded to Haifa, and in Haifa, Menachem waited for me to take me to his mother, and it is happened that we married afterwards. After
2 years.
After 2 years, we were already married.
Did you know each other before when you were growing up?
No, I met her once because she came when she was 19. She came for a tour with Menachem and from Holland. And then I met her for the first time. And I knew she wanted not to go back to Holland when she was with Menachem here, but everybody told her, you must go back, but we'll come up on Anuya. And so she did. But she had she learned the profession. She was a laborant,
Medical
laborant.
And I already worked in
Amsterdam.
In Haarlem.
In Haarlem, okay.
In a Catholic hospital.
And you were born in Amsterdam?
Yes.
In the ghetto.
In the ghetto.
In what year were you born?
1942.
In the ghetto?
Yes.
Yes. I know a lot of things, but it is very hard to speak everything.
I will tell you a little bit of her rescue in Amsterdam, how she got. As her father was in the Judenrat, they had a license to go out and in of the ghetto. At least he had. So afterwards, when almost all the Jews were sent away already, they also ordered the Jews to stay in Amsterdam to go to the central place. It was a Jewish theater called on some place, and there they were all collected together to come there, and there was a train which came beside the theater, and then they took the people to Westerbork. So they came, her parents with her came there also, but she was hungry and she was crying. She had to get a new diaper, so her father went to a Dutch policeman which was staying there and asked him if he can take them to some place to change diapers, and because she was crying, screaming, and so she was 7 months old. So he took them to a small chamber behind the stage, and there they sat and managed. And at that time, when she was feeded there and they got a diaper, all the people, the train came and they got all on the train and went away.
Without us.
And they were on the list, because I saw the list in Yad Vashem once. They were on the list as they were sent to Westerbork.
So that saved your life. That saved
So afterwards,
when your mother was with you?
Yes, she was with her mother. So
afterwards, the Dutch policeman came to this chamber. He has to stay there because of who he had to work for the Nazis in this station place. And he said to my parents, go away, fly away, and
Just go from outside, go from behind and go away. So this policeman, which helped them first to go inside the small room behind the stage, sent them away.
And that saved your life.
That saved their lives. And so they went back. They had the key of the house by one of her uncles. I don't know how they still were there, but in any way, they took their things and left Amsterdam. And there
no,
they had to separate.
I was left in Amsterdam by
in any way.
by a not Jewish student. He was a friend from my mother's cousin. And there I was for about 4 months, and there they took me away. I didn't know everything about my parents. 2 years I was not with my parents. I was separated from my parents. 2 years.
But with another non-Jewish family?
Yes.
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 Do you know the name of the family?
Yes, Stoffers. No, not Stoffers. Sorry, Rombach.
No, Rombach.
And where was this? In
Amsterdam.
In Amsterdam.
No, Rombach was not in Amsterdam, Esther.
No.
Don't take the stations on your way. The last large time you were in by the family Rombach in Amersfoort.
The first time I was in Amsterdam by Mile of Eiben.
So for 2 years it was also hidden.
Yes.
I didn't know where my parents, and my parents didn't know where I was. And I had another name, and they didn't know if I was in living after the war.
And your family name before you were married?
Philipson.
Also Philipson?
Yeah,
Yes,
because our fathers were brothers.
Your fathers were brothers? Wow.
Yes.
And how did your parents find you?
That's another question. My aunt from my father lived in Amersfoort, and she was left after.
She came back from Westerbork.
She left in Westerbork until the war was over, and then she came back with her son. He was 4 years older than I was, and she came back to Amersfoort, to her house where she lived with his husband and her son. Her husband was lived away to, I don't know, in Auschwitz, or everyone didn't know where he was. And she came back alone with her son to Amersfoort. And she had to have to her own house, and she had een meubelzaak.
Furniture
shop.
A large one.
And she wanted to live there back in her own house. But it was very complicated with the Dutch government to claim it back. But she She got it back, and she had to go to the
City Hall.
The city house to came everything back, and my parents, I didn't know who was were my parents, so my parents, where I was hidden, they took a picture from me and took it on the
wall?
On the wall in from the stadhuis,
City Hall.
City Hall, and she saw this picture and she cried, "This is my father's daughter."
My niece, wow.
Yes, and so after 2 months, or about 2 months, they came together, and they came to my parents. I didn't know who were my parents, of course, but this young couple were very kind for me, and they made me a little bit calmer, because of I was very upset from all the things. 3 times they take me to another place, and so they come to this my adopted parents, and the adopted parents take me away from there. And afterwards we were also in other places till my father became a job in Haarlem. And afterwards I lived in Haarlem.
It's amazing that she took a picture and she put it on the city, that she took a picture of you.
Yes, yes. I have.
That were her parents, her foster parents.
Yeah.
They took the picture.
But that's incredible, because
they didn't want to hold her, because they had to live their own life.
Wow,
her foster father, he was an engineer, oil engineer. So
from
he got in Shell, and he got a job in Venezuela.
Did they have their own children?
They did not have children, but later on they adopted a child.
Wow. And did you keep a connection with the family?
All
his life we were.
All their life we were to
I
the
wrote
funeral.
them in Dutch, and they sent me together everything what they know, and I asked them also some things I remember from the half and year and half I lived there. I remember all the things, and I wrote to them, was this that and that, and they said yes, it was so, and they make a picture for me in 1944. I was already 2.5 years, and I became afterwards. After he retired from his work, he came to Wassenaar, and we visit them every year. They were in life, and I become this picture.
And were they given Chasidei Motalam, righteous amongst the nations?
Yes, yes,
Yes,
yes, yes.
That is amazing.
It
It
is
was a
amazing.
big story because she wanted to give Edut in Yad Vashem, and they told her, you were too young, so you can't give testimony. Until in Yad Vashem they changed the law, so as we heard that she can do it now, we did it, and we could give them the among
My
Yad Vashem.
my adopted mother write a letter with all this
Details.
history from me and from them, and they believed that it was true. So I also write with them and write to Yad Vashem, and they it was true, and therefore they became the
Yad Vashem
Yad
title,
Vashem letter.
So I have to ask you both a very difficult question. And I've asked this to a lot of survivors from Holland who were hidden by righteous Gentiles, which I think is the most incredible Menachem. They're angels. It's hard to the danger was so real that if they were caught, not only they were killed, but their families were killed.
Yes.
And it happened.
Yes, yes.
And also the underground. If the underground were killed, found, they were killed.
We know it, but they made everything that they can hidden in this house where I was hidden. Under the ground they made a place, and with the neighbors they made also in the wall together that we can
in the attic
fly.
it was a double house, and in the attic, in the wall, they make a hole that if the Germans go in one apartment, they can go to the other side out.
Amazing. So my question is, if the tables were turned, what would you do if you were put in the position today?
I don't know. I was not in so in position. So I didn't know how I will do
And
it.
Menachem, how would you feel?
As I told you, I am until today. I like very much to help people, to do anything. So if I would stand for that dilemma, I would do everything to help people, to save people, to save their lives. No hesitation.
Wow. Because it came at a big price. It was a big sacrifice that was made.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
And that's why they are the righteous.
My sister was hidden. My bigger sister was hidden in by a priest in a church house, and the priest was in the underground. And one day he went from house and he never came back. He was killed, because the Nazis caught him and another woman which was in the underground, and they found his body somewhere 50 kilometers from that place.
They killed him.
But my sister stayed with the wife of his wife. Saved other lives too, not only my sister.
So these were Protestant.
Yes, yes. And we had connections with their only daughter. She was a very good friend with my sister. She was a little bit older, and about 3 or 4 years ago, she passed away, the daughter, and the children of my sister traveled to the Netherlands to the Levaya.
To the funeral. Wow.
The funeral, it was on Saturday, and the chief rabbi of the Netherlands, which my nephews stayed at his home, at his house on Shabbat, because it was Shabbat, and he went with them to the Levaya, to the church, for giving honor to those people.
That is so special.
Very special.
On Shabbat.
On Shabbat.
On Shabbat, yes.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Because they sacrificed their lives. They really did.
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Really. There was also in Beit Vagan one person which was also hidden, is now in also in Bet Moses, Bet Bart, Yosef Fleischhauer.
Yes.
Yes. You know, he was with my sister together.
It's amazing. Sure.
He can also speak a lot.
And you have such a beautiful
Yes.
picture of your family.
Yes.
No, this is our family. A year ago, we every few years we make a family.
And it's growing.
Growing.
Ken
It's
and Hora.
still growing. So we have today. We have 19 grandchildren and 9 great-grandchildren.
Ken and Hora. Wow.
It's 12.
12, sorry.
12,
12 great-grandchildren.
yes.
Yes. So you see.
It's so beautiful. And this is in a way, it's a nachama and a nakama. It's
Yes, yes.
your...
As you say.
That's we said to everything. You have to go on. You have nagezet.
Nachat.
Nachas and...
Yes, from the children, grandchildren, and the grandchildren.
And if I can ask, what message do you give to the future generations and to your family and to...
Everything what we can do.
Look, I wrote everything in the book.
So, the message that you both can impart to the future generations.
Be strong and do whatever you can. ואהבת לרעך כמוך.
To love their neighbors yourself.
Yeah. It's hate is very a bad thing to hate.
We are very close with everyone.
It's very hard to hate people.
Both you, your families, and you coming to Israel by yourself, living in Israel, it's been a very important part of your lives.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. We never would like to go back to the Netherlands. Not for visit, yes, but not to live there. I have the feeling whenever now when I've been to the Netherlands 4 months ago. It's not even 4 months, and I came to be among Jews because I went to a ceremony. They put some
the names,
some names of my grandfather and grandmother, which lived also in Leiden. So the last house where they lived before they were deported. There they put now those stones. I have also at our own house. There's also a stolper stone for my father, and the other city in Hogeveen where our aunt and uncle were living with two daughters. There also are the stones, and those stones. She was to Hogeveen to the ceremony of the 4 stones. I couldn't go because the day before the flight I got the corona. So I went 6 weeks later, but I couldn't stay there. It was very hard for me, this emotional.
And you feel at home in Israel? You feel this is your home?
Yes.
This is our home.
And your children, they live here?
All live here.
That's such a bracha.
Yeah.
And can I ask, your emunah, you've always kept your emunah, your faith?
Yes. My mother was a Datiya, Zionist. I believe that. I never asked her about it, but you feel it on the behavior. And after, my mother remarried at 1954, and then my new father, my stepfather, he was a widow and brought 2 children with him, and we got one family. My mother, it was very difficult for her. She never forgave herself for sending her husband to his death. So I believe that was what she was thinking, because she never wanted to speak about it, she never knew about it, she never knew and what happened to him until she got, in March 1948, she got a letter from the City Hall in Leiden that your husband, Jacob Philipson, died in Sobibor at 23 July 43, and she never showed it to us. She hid it in a box, and in 1951 she flew back to Amsterdam, to Holland. After she won the trial. She had to get her house back in Leiden, because this house was bought by the Nazi doctor, and when she immigrated to Israel, she wanted to sell the house. They told her, it's not your house. It's the name of somebody. She got a lawyer, she went to court, and at that time she was in Israel already. So it took a few years, but then she could sell the house, and she had also the house of her parents in that small village in Gees, and she sold those houses, and the money she got new furniture, and she also built a part of the house. Our house in Petah Tikva was only 1 room, and then she made it a larger house with 2.5 rooms and a new bathroom and
kitchen.
The kitchen was the same kitchen.
Same kitchen.
Yes, but and the balcony, and we had a garden, a large garden. We had a nice life, but she was never happy. She never was able to speak about the Holocaust, and it made Yom HaShoah made us sick every year. And we were at house as children. We were only 2, my sister Sarah and me. And when we came to her with the papers we got from the school to make those the pay aid to Yad Vashem, it was very difficult for her, and she filled in some names. But years later, I went to Yad Vashem and I corrected and I added many names.
And could you speak to your siblings about what happened in the show?
Yes. Look, I couldn't speak anything I was a very quiet boy. I never spoke, I always listened. But after we got the Pitzuyim from Shilumim from Holland, I got the possibility to get psychological help. And I do it now for 25 years. I still get those treatments, psychotherapy. And that made me able to speak and to make the research and to do everything. My mother died at 1992. And the year after, we made our first trip to Holland with children. That was our first roots tour. And after that I did the course on the internet, and I had a computer. I had years before it, in somewhere in the 90s, I already had a computer at home, and that helped me a lot. And until I think it was 2004, I finished my research enough for the family, so I thought it's never finishing, you know. And and then I made the first book for the family. After we had a meeting, all family, about 200 siblings were there, and including the two children of my second father, because we called him father, and we took all together one family name. That's why we have the name Armon on the family name. And they know everything, and they are interested, and everything. I have something, I tell them, I write them.
You could also speak to your children. You could.
Yeah.
Yes.
You do it together.
Yes. We also every year the salon.
The Zikaron Salon.
Meeting in the salon.
And you do it every year. You've been doing it every year.
Yes.
And you do it together.
Some days we did it together, but I thought it's better we do it apart, because we have our story is so big, so large. Yeah. You can't do it for two people at one meeting.
We did it already 10 years.
We were 10 years
Yes.
to do it.
Yes, we are.
From the very beginning.
We were also signed in the meeting in the salon. There is an.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful. So if I can ask you both, could you give a bracha to all of us, being both survivors? It's a miracle. Both your lives are miracles. That you survived, that you cried, and you weren't taken with your parents to Westerbork. It's unbelievable.
Yes.
First of all, I would like to pray for peace, for Shalom le'am Israel, and to the Chayalim of Tzva Hagana Israel. We have the honor to have grandchildren in the army, and even now we have two brothers. Two brothers are now in Miluim, for example. Two grandchildren, and the sister is now in Sherut Sadir in the army. They all want to be good citizens and not to run away from the duties.
Yes.
And even though the last ones which I told you, they came from a religious family, and they are all very for Israel, of course.
Wonderful.
Yes, it is a miracle.
It really is a miracle. You both are living miracles. But you had so many nisim, so many...
Yeah. And that's, we pray for every day that we never forget. I wanted to show you this table, you see.
Oh yes, this
It has a
also,
story because this table is on a picture when my parents married in January 35. They have a picture in their living room. They sit beside this table.
The same table.
Yes. And my mother brought it with her when she made Aliyah. And it was at home until they changed the furniture. And it vanished from the house and they didn't ask anything. And years later, our neighbor, an old lady, she needed a babysitter because her son, which lived with them, and his wife had to go to another city for some wedding plans for their son, and they asked us if we can keep an eye on the mother. She was about 19 years old. לא משנה. אסתר זה לא חשוב עכשיו. And I went in to the house, and she was lying in her room. It was a large room, bed one side was the bed, and then I see, this is our table. What is it doing here? And there were also two fauteuils also. But the fauteuils were rotten, didn't survive. Years later, when her son was very old, we lived years long in the same street. One house, the house of the neighbors was between our house and my parents' house. So we were very connected, and when they needed to make a room for something nursing the son, which was very old at the time, they had to put out the furniture. So the grandchild came to me, and I heard the talking about the table, you can take it.
Gee.
And I took it.
It's amazing.
And he repaired it, and he...
I made an
So
overhaul to the
special,
table.
wow.
I painted it, and it's now
It's wonderful.
like here.
Wow. Well, I just want to thank you both so much.
Thank you too for coming and making the effort.
Okay. And we will...
So this is family Rambach. This is the family that rescued you.
Yes.
Esther, yes.
And this is...
Those two lady sisters, this one took me, Menachem, on the train to the hiding place, and the sister hided my brother Yaakov. And those pair were the people who hided my uncle Michel and Eva Philipson.
Your parents?
No, Esther's
My
parents.
Yes.
Your parents. Amazing.
And these are the people who hided my sister Sarah, which is sitting by them.
יש את התמונה שלי עם הקלומפ, גם מופיע כאן או לא?
אני לא חושב. That's in Yad Vashem. This is the sign with all the names, and this is on it. It is on the way to Bikat HaKeilot.
And Menachem, are there any other pictures of...
This is the pair who hided me, Aikinan Jacobus Wichman. And that's my brother Yaakov with his family. his grandchildren and children. And that's my brother Eliezer with his family.
It's wonderful.
And that's another picture with my family in a Shabbat meeting.
It's so special.
And my older sister Rika with her family, and on a wedding of my sister. Sorry.
Thank you so much.
Those documents were all in the Westerbork camp. There were documents of the Red Cross who also worked there, and everybody, including us who stayed alive and did not went to the Westerbork camp, had their cards with our names ready. If we come, they can send me to the concentration camp. I have many of them.
So they already had the cards ready?
Ready, yes.
Yes, the picture, copy.
This is my card in Westerbork, ready. If I come, they can send me. My brother's one, Jacob, my sister Sarah.
Because they had the list of all the whole Jewish community.
They had every name. They did a very German job.
They had everything. Also, Sally Duncan again.
Of my mother's and my father. אני לא רואה את שלך פה, אבל יש.
צריך להיות, אני חושבת.
My mother was looking for the family. She didn't know what happened to them, so she put an advertisement in a paper. This is the advertisement with the names she was looking for. But nobody survived, of course.
Nobody survived.
And this is the document telling my mother that my father was killed in Sobibor. It is from the City Hall of Leiden on 12 March 1984.
1984. Wow.
And this is the police, I told you, the police document about the arresting of my father in Leiden.
But it wasn't your mother's fault that he went out.
No.
But I think your mother felt guilty that he went.
Yes, she never forgave herself about it. So, let's finish because she must clean up.
Okay, thank you so much. What a special book. Thank you, Menachem.
Yeah.
I can't believe that in Westerbork they had a card with your whole family's name on.
Not only our family, everybody, but it was closed. But you know, I was to Westerbork a few times, and I made a meeting in the library because I brought them a photo of my uncle who was a chazan, a cantor, and they put these pictures. They put there's a hall with all pictures, and he's in the middle there. But I brought the photos, and then she gave me those copy of those cards, and I had it in an envelope. A few months I couldn't open it. It was such a shock to have those. But the cards of the Red Cross were closed for 60 years. They didn't let it to the public. Nobody knew that they had those cards.
En זה גם כן,
כן.
Sarah gaat ernaast.
I told you about this yard. You see, the yard in Hogeveen, they made weddings there.
Yeah.
And this is our uncle Sarah,
Our uncle.
our aunt Sarah, with her husband. And some people I don't know from the other family.
And this is with the glass, with the...
This is the glass windows which are now in Petach Tikva. It will take me too much time to find the originals in color. You can see this is the Jews house in Gees. It's a house from 1805. It has a straw roof.
Sorry.
This document.
And this was the house where my mother was born.
See, and is it still there today?
Yes, yes.
Yes, it is.
She sold the house in 1951.
And in this...
This is my mother with two of her Goyish girlfriends. And we had connection years after with that
Wow,
that lady. She gave us this picture.
that's amazing. So, okay. It has been, there are no words to tell you what an amazing, incredible, just hearing your stories, the miracles, and the people that put their lives at risk to save you both. I think it's just blowing my mind. There are no words.
Every time we appreciate it so much, and we had the honor to meet those people when they were older, and we were also
You kept the connection all
yes,
the
we
years.
kept the connection. My saviors always, they also visited Israel 3 times. I have here a picture, but I don't know who that is.
Well, I'm so grateful to you both. And that these pictures, so many miracles.
That's my savior, and this the same picture. I sit in the front of the house, the right side baby.
So you're going to just show this picture. This is the lady is.
The lady is holding me. That's the lady who came to see me before we went to Israel.
And this is inside.
That is the hiding place where I lived. And the woman at the left is the woman who saved my life.
What was her name?
Aikina Wichman. And he was Jacobus Wichman.
And it's amazing that they took these pictures also during the war.
Yes.
Yes, because of the
People were living the life.
Because of the neighbors from Menachem's elders took all the things in the...
Which is also a miracle that they took everything and that they kept it.
Yeah.
This is a picture
of my mother in Hogeveen in 1936, the 30th of July. But this was made in a yard, which later I found out that this was the yard of the house where my aunt and uncle were living. It was the house of the Jewish community in Hogeveen. And now this house had the entrance. I have to show you. I have put another picture. A very small picture. This was a community house, and you can see on this side there are 2 glass windows on the door.
Yeah.
And those 2 glasses years later were taken out by a Jewish lady who lived there, and she gave these windows to me. I got them. Her brother was a staff worker in El Al, and he brought it with him. After he found me. He found me on a flight from the States to Israel. He saw on the list Philipson, so he came to me, are you from a family? He said, did you have family in Hogeveen? And these 2 windows, it is, one is written Baruch Ata B'Vo'echa, and the second Baruch Ata B'Tzetecha, and they are, until this day, they are in the synagogue in the neighborhood where I was living.
That's amazing. Petah Tikva, that's amazing.
History. אני לא יודע איזה תמונה אסתר.
הנה, הם כאן.
זה ראו שם, זה אותו דבר. I made it some bigger, but...
It's incredible.
Last time I made this picture better by AI, but it's not here. Now you can see the white building here is the house where I was hidden.
Oh, that's the house you hidden.
And on this side is a school, which got to be the offices of the Gestapo. But after the war, they broke up the school because they hated so much what they did to the village, to the people, that they didn't want to keep it.
And the house still remains?
The house remains. It is. We have been there several times. The house is in the same position, and it is now rebuilt. They made it very nice. That's a family living there. I came to visit there, and I spoke to the people living there. They were wondering, they couldn't believe that what happened at that house. So.
Well, it has been amazing. It's just something incredible, and I just want to thank you again.
Yeah.
So really, just once again, thank you both so much. You should only have Basil and Rocha and may their stream in good health and nachas from your dear family. And
thank you.
I'm so grateful to you both.
So